gon' make some moves tonight. You stand up, got something to prove tonight. So stand up, we ain't gonna plan tonight. We gonna take action on our dreams and fight, alright. We ain't gonna stall, never stop. We gon' make it all till the top. We ain't gonna plan tonight. We gonna take action on our dreams and fight, alright.
Good evening, everybody. It is Scott Schertzen alongside the always impressive Mr. Haylon Haru, and welcome to MLS Sports Writers React. We started a little late today because we had to try to wait out the U.S. men's national team. Their 2-1 win. We're going to break that down. We're going to talk a little bit about the next round. They went a perfect 3-0. Nothing to complain about there. Almost had 3 clean sheets. Almost had that. We're going to talk a little bit about the gaffe that we had there. We have to bring that up. Haylon, you and I were talking about this prior. My wife is not going to be happy about the fact that we're going to have to play the Matt Freese video on that of what happened there, because she's always protective of the players whenever they make a mistake. So.
She's mama bear for the boys. I get you.
Her exact words. I swear to God, her exact words.
Yeah.
But how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing okay.
I'm experiencing a little bit of withdrawals right now. I'm missing New York right now.
It's weird at the moment because, I mean, they had they had those 8 games, almost 9 if they had beaten Pittsburgh in the USL team back in about a month and a half ago. But there's been 1 game, home game, and then next month there's 1 home game, and it's all road games after that. So it's messed up.
Yeah, we're in a bad way right now. We're missing our team, but it was nice seeing. We have a revenge game. Yeah.
A Thursday night game too.
We should talk about that a little bit if you like. But lovely seeing Matt. See, I'm loving this arc that Matt's on right now. I distinctly remember when we spoke to him at Red Bull Arena last season, and we were asking him about his prospects with the national team and all that. And at that point, if you took a snapshot of time, at that point, it felt very scarce. It felt for him, at least, it felt like there was no way into that team at the time. The team, the USSF felt like they have their favorites. They usually feel like they have their favorites, right? And he didn't feel like one of their favorites. But what I like about Matt and what he's showing now at the international level is he just shows up to work, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He just shows up, and you and I have said this time and again. I've said this to you. Like, for me, the mark of one of your leaders on the squad is the person who, even in a bad game or even after a mistake, he still resets and still he resembles himself, right? And Matty still looks like Matty, even if it's not Thiago and Burke in front of him. He still looks like Matty. But yeah, if you want to get into the game a little bit.
Sure. I do agree with you 100%. Matt Freese, it's funny because, he came to the team in 2023, and it surprised a lot of us when that trade occurred there, because they had to obviously replace Sean Johnson, who went to Toronto. Luis Barraza had the starting job for a while. And it's weird, at least from a selfish perspective, because the first written article I'd ever did on a player was Matt Freese. The first person who ever interviewed Matt Freese when he came to the team was me, because he was still a glorified backup at that point. It was Luis Barraza's team. So it was weird for me. It's weird for me to see what he is now. From that 2.5 years ago, this little kid, who's sitting there talking about the new environment and how weird it is being all Philly for so long, getting to know him, what his drives were, and to see this. See what he is. I mean, 2 clean sheets, 1 goal given up the entire run all the way through. The team outscored their opponents 8-1 in 3 matches. So we're going to deep dive that. But yeah, as far as Matty goes, I mean, we have to talk about the mistake. But like you said, he's never too high. He's never too low. He's exactly what he needs to be.
Yeah, but where he needs to be tends to be better than most keepers, isn't it? Right? So speaking about the mistake tonight, we were texting about it at the time that it happened, and I still feel, how I felt when I messaged you, which was mistakes like that, they stick a little bit harder, especially when you're campaigning to make a case for yourself for
Yes.
I deserve to start for the national team. Um, it's just it sticks in a way that it normally wouldn't if it was a throwaway game or if it wasn't your gaff, right? But
Yep.
because it came off of his touch and his decision, it's just one of those things, and it's only because he's in a phase of his career right now where he's under the lens.
Yep.
People are asking, is he even going to still be on New York City FC next season? Is he gonna go to Europe? He's playing so well. Someone's gonna come snatch him up. So getting the look to being able to be invited to camp and come in for the Gold Cup and getting starts and getting these clean sheets, all of that, it's being tucked away in a file somewhere for someone to make a case for him to make the leap, right? And so is this mistake. But as we just said, like even after mistakes like that, he still manages to reset and just get back to being Maddie. And I think that level of professionalism is exactly what not just gets you to make the leap, but it sustains you once you get there, you know? So, I have full faith. Like I said on Twitter the other day, I have full faith in this guy. Like
Hmm.
Maddie, I've seen what quality he has, even on bad days when it's, symbolically bad days, figuratively bad days, when it's rainy and muddy and messy. The game is horrible. We're losing, and he still looks like himself.
Hmm.
And that to me is a professional. That to me is someone who takes his job pretty damn seriously.
Yeah. And in his case right here, I mean, obviously the pressure is on in a way that it's never been. We had talked a
Mhm.
year ago, why isn't he on the squad? He should be on the squad.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, and this is still something that's weird for me, you know, Matt Turner is riding the bench. And listen,
Oh yeah.
maybe it's a Berhalter thing. No, in this case we have a new head coach and all that. So maybe
Mhm.
that's the mentality of it, that Turner was always Berhalter's guy. But it's weird to see him sitting on the sidelines here. You know,
For as an observer, I said on Twitter the other day, I've been a U.S. national team supporter longer than I've been a New York City FC
hmm,
supporter, and I've observed Matt Turner's arc and his rise to prominence. Right,
hmm,
I didn't really witness what he did for New England, but I hear great things and I've seen the data. Um, So I know whatever chances he got, whatever looks he got, they were well deserved. But there was Matty doesn't get a chance tonight with Matt sitting on the bench. Matt doesn't end up on the bench undeserved.
hmm,
This isn't he's a Berhalter guy thing. I entirely at least. I think it's partly that, but I think it's also flat out. You have Mauricio Pochettino evaluating your performances
hmm.
in games and in training. And it's like that quote from A Knight's Tale, right? You've been weighed, you've been measured, and unfortunately you've been found wanting. You've been found to be not measuring up to the standard that he requires for his 11, right? By his I mean Pochettino. So I mean, not I'm trying not to bash Matt Turner too much. The man is an accomplished player. He's played in Europe and sustained a pretty good career over there. But in the last 2 to 3 years for both club and country, he has kind of the he's cooled off a lot,
Hmm.
and Matt's heating up like a lot.
You know,
So
yeah.
that change of the guard feels appropriate.
And Turner for the most part hasn't done a lot since he moved over to Europe anyway.
Hmm.
Because is he with Nottingham Forest right now? I think last I checked.
I believe that's yeah.
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 So it is. I mean, in this case, it is Matt Freese's time. There's a lot of people. In this case, this is a great example of this. Lady with a good Gold Cup. Is he playing himself out of NYCFC? Very possibly.
Yeah, that's yeah. It's a double-edged sword. It's such a double-edged sword. Like I want the national team to do well in the Gold Cup, but that 100% means
that's right.
that 100% means he's not here next year.
Yeah, and I think they're grooming Tomas Romero to be the new guy.
Hmm.
I think in
Yeah.
this case, I think that's where Romero is getting his time. He's getting his experience in front of the camera a little bit more. And I think I think the team is already playing that angle that just in case, should
Just in
Matt
case,
Freese,
yeah.
should Matt Freese go? Listen, I have always maintained that Major League Soccer is AAA soccer on a worldwide stage. So you see players like this that will go overseas and ideally to Europe. That's the goal for all of them, And I think with Freese's demeanor, it is entirely possible that if he goes over to Europe, he could ride the bench for a little bit, but then I think start getting some time a little bit. Ironically, I think it helps a little bit that he has a Man City coach in his back, in his availability as well. Granted, on the women's side, but he's got Cushing to back him up too, and availability over there should he need a good referral.
Yeah, it needs some sort of pseudo support system. Yeah, he has it there, right? What I love about Matt as well is he seems like a guy, not to overuse movie quotes, but like from Miami Vice, that film, the Michael Mann film, he seems like a guy who's comfortable when he's operating, 15 blocks out from his hood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He seems
Sure.
like a guy who's an island upon himself. And I actually think you drop him into any squad in the world right now, and he's at least competing. He's at least creating questions.
Mm-hmm.
He's at least creating a conundrum for the coach to go, wait, do I actually start this American guy over? You know what I mean? Should I do that?
But that's the kind of problem that you want to have when you're a coach anyway. To have two good issues like this is something that you want to run with. But the reality is, in this case, now that he's finally getting the time, again, like we talked about a year and a half ago, we were, a lot of people were like, he's not getting the recognition he deserves. Even when it was goalie of the year here, remember goalkeeper of the year, Guzan was in the name. Some of the other ones I'm trying to remember, Kansas City, I think, but Matt Freese got ignored, and it pissed off a lot of people. And that was ironically a great PR move because a lot of people were like, look at his stats, look at his numbers. Why are you guys leaving him off? And then suddenly it was a wake-up call to the rest of the league. Oh, you know what? Maybe this guy doesn't suck,
Yeah.
And here, so
it's go on. Let you up.
I was going to say, let me go to that one goal first.
Okay.
So I'm going to go. The only way I've got this at the moment is to go through Twitter. So let me zoom this out. So you can see the mistake here where he just, right there, you can see this, I think, right? Yeah. So in this case, I mean, there's 100 different ways this could have been played, and the easiest way would be to not do that.
Boot it.
Hold the ball, kick it to the right side, something like this. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm guessing he was trying to thread the needle to the player on the right side of the screen.
Yeah, he's trying to go to Tolkien there on the right side.
Is that Tolkien? Okay.
Those are the three. So the three options are obviously boot it. That's read number one.
Yeah.
Read number two, the second hardest. I mean, or second easiest would be to control the ball and switch it over to the right side. And he chose the most difficult one because he also, I think he hits that with his left foot. He's not a left-footed player, right? And that was off of one touch. So if he wasn't already in the conversations, if he wasn't already in those conversations of, is he going to make the leap? Does he stay on NYCFC next season? If he wasn't good, if he wasn't in those types of conversations, then this mistake, if the only conversation he was in is if the only conversation he was in is he's now in competition with Matt Turner, then that would be a bad mark, but I don't think he would be judged as harshly. But because he has such there are such high expectations placed on him, that type of mistake, imagine him making that type of mistake in the Prem against Man City.
Now, what I mean? In this case, the team won. So you can watch that out a lot in the standings and everything. Had it been a draw and cost points, had they lost, there's a lot of what ifs here, but given the circumstance, this was the best case scenario that he could have had, where you can just close out, recharge. You've got about 10 days until the next round. You're playing the runner-up of bracket A, which I think, who is that? Is that who's bracket A right now? Do you remember? Give me a sec. That's it. It could be Costa Rica. Wouldn't that be ironic?
Wow,
right now,
right? Imagine our two
right,
talismans. No,
right now,
dude, that would be interesting.
Here is the standings right now for Group A. So we have Mexico and Costa Rica. If it stays that way, then Alonso Martinez will be facing off against Matt Freese.
I love that. I love that. That's narrative.
Yeah,
that's Hollywood, baby. Right?
You know, I mean, that's like I said, that is so amazing right there. Now, I don't know. I haven't seen the numbers on how much playing time Martinez is getting. I don't think he's put up any numbers for the team yet. I looked at the numbers for Costa Rica, and I don't recall in the broad stroke look that I had.
Is he starting?
I don't know if he's starting right now. I'll check that in a minute. I just want to knock out a couple of the comments real quick. They never played Mexico in a quarterfinal. Okay. Yeah, so it'll be Mexico or Costa Rica. I think if it's Costa Rica, that would be so absolutely hilariously awesome.
But I love that. I love that narrative point. Like our goal stopper and our goal getter going head to head. I love that.
By the way, just to clarify, yes, Alonso Martinez, he's put in almost the full 180 for the first two matches. I don't have match 3. He does have a goal so far though.
Okay.
So he does have a goal in this tournament.
He's starting nonetheless. That's going to be trippy to see. It's going to be trippy to see. Like the first 1v1.
Thank you. Yeah.
The first 1v1 we see. Or don't even let it be a penalty. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Who are you backing? Who are you backing in that moment?
You know what? I got to go Matty because, I mean, listen, I like Alonso Martinez, but look, one of my wife's best moments, there was at the end of the 2023 season, the team invited me and Robin out to hang out with the squad to catch the screening of a Taika Waititi soccer movie.
Okay.
It was, I forget the name of the movie, but it was the guy that played Magneto in First Class. Fassbender, is it?
Fassbender, Michael Fassbender.
It was his soccer movie. And, you know, we were all hanging out with him. Gabe Siegel just came back from Israel at that point. Tyler was there, and it was a very chill meet and greet. And Maddie spent like 20 minutes hanging out with Robin, just talking sports, talking life, the universe, and everything. So I got to protect Matt Freese here. I got to look out for that dude. I'm sorry. You know, he signed a soccer ball for her nephew. It's like, you know. But yeah, I think
Matty gets the better of him there.
This is one of those weird cases where if you're a U.S. fan, you hope for the Alonso Martinez penalty kill curse to kick in, where you're like, I hope he, you know, back with NYCFC, fix it. But for right now, it's okay to suck.
so that's we're talking about what we're hoping for. What I think would likely happen in scenario one, if Alonso's played in behind and it's a 1v1 moment, I think Matty gets the best of that moment. But if it's a penalty, I actually think Alonso if Alonso's taking it, I think Alonso buries that.
I didn't think he'd be the start. He'd be taking.
Oh, the other striker. Gotcha.
But we're just talking the irony of the fact that Alonso versus Matt Freese, you know, and just the what if factor on something like that, and you asked, like, you know, who do you pull for in a situation like that? You know? And usually I will pull for the most esoteric team in a tournament like this. You know, I'll pull for Canada. I'll pull for, you know, Japan or Black. You know, I'll pull for those teams that have no shot in Hiffle. But it's Matty, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So Patrick Adjumang gets the game winner. Yes. Do you have that highlight?
I do. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna swing this over.
Adjumang, just some thoughts on Adjumang really quick. You know, for me, the striker spot, the number 9 spot on the national team, it's still up for grabs. I think between now and next year, that the landscape could drastically change, and it really ought to change. But I love that Adjumang is making a great case for himself in this tournament. Yes. Having said that, I don't know. It's there's some aspects of his game I wish he was a little bit more efficient in, but his hold up play could be a little bit more efficient, and his pressing could be a little bit more aggressive, and you know maybe he could convert a couple more of those chances. He gets a lot of chances. He finds himself in really good spots, and I wouldn't want it to turn into a situation like Munsef where he gets a lot, a case of the yips.
Sure.
So yeah, I'd like to see him be a little bit more clinical. He's getting decent chances, so yeah.
Now, interestingly enough, if the U.S. win on this match over the weekend, then Tomas Romero most likely will get the start on the 3rd, because the semifinal match will be July 2nd, and I don't see Matt Freese playing the 2nd and the 3rd there. So keep that in the back of your mind there, that the Toronto match, because of the scheduling and being on a Thursday like that, this is going to be something where, if they win this weekend, then Tomas Romero knows he's going to start.
Yeah.
But just the same, let me swing over to the goal itself. Share this tab. All right. So here, I'm going to kick that speed up.
So Tolkien to Tyler.
Sí, la afición
Tyler
también
carries
desde
up the
antes de la
middle.
elección de Estados Unidos, la afición al ritmo de USA, mis respetos, otro.
Do you mind muting?
Quizá ya lo hubieran
Yeah, it's on mute right now. No, you're not on mute, but the game is.
Pelota para Agiman, claro que sí, Patrick.
Otro equipo quizá
So
ya lo
that's
hubieran
you to mute
abucheado,
the
pero
video
bueno,
in the app.
Pelota para Agiman.
Oh, is it playing on camera?
Patrick.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Hang on a minute.
I think there should be like a volume.
There we go. We'll do it that way. Sorry about that. I muted it on this
No
side,
worries.
so I'm not hearing it, but I didn't realize you were. Sorry about that.
Oh, Tyler was able to do this all game. Tolkien, see, I love this ball from Tolkien. I love that ball from Tolkien.
Yep.
I've been saying to people for a while now that Tolkien is the second string behind Anthony Robinson. And if Anthony Robinson, like for the World Cup roster, I think there's literally not much more of a case he has to make. I think Tolkien has proven enough with the Red Bulls, and in moments like this, he's very scrappy defensively. He's not a lazy defender. He's not a one-dimensional fullback. And look at that ball. Perfect weight on it.
Perfect spot. He saw everything. He saw exactly what it had to be. Great. With a great stop, by the way. To get control of that right about.
Great touch to get it by the keeper.
Right there. Yeah, see, right there, just to get what control he needs.
So he takes it past the keeper here.
Situation like that came out, played tight, but
absolutely.
And then it was an easy chip in from there.
And frankly, Ajimang just slides. Once you're by the keeper at that point, can I see that comment again?
Oh, oops, sorry.
Tolkien, I don't. Yeah. He's experienced a tough go of it, but in fairness, I think leaving the Red Bulls was probably, especially for the team that he ended up going to, was not the best move for him. I think if he was to go to Europe, it should have been a lateral Red Bull Salzburg, Red Bull Leipzig type of move. So I just think it was a poor. Sounds harsh to say it like this, but poor career choice. But regardless of that choice and regardless of how things have been going for him, I still rate him. I think he's one of the best, left backs in the pool right now.
And like I said, he picked up an assist. I think that gives him 3 assists for this. Arfston, I know, is at 2 assists so far. He was he was at the top of the chain for all of this.
Wow.
So they, like I said, the team it begs the question: how far can this team go? I mean, now we're getting into the big aspect of this. So if they end up playing, very possibly, let's say Costa Rica, I mean, it's all one and done from here on out.
Yeah.
So there's a big issue about what can happen in a single elimination. This stuff is just like that first round MLS best of 3 thing, where you lose one, it's like, okay, you can still adapt. NYCFC moved on last year because of that. If it was a one and done, they would have been out.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I like those types of stakes. I mean, don't get me started on our playoff setup here.
Wait till we go best of 7.
um, but I feel like a lot of how far they can go rests on Pochettino continuing to choose the right guys. I
Hmm.
think he made amazing selections today. Players like Aronson and Adams and Tolkien, and honestly, people hate on him, but Tim Ream. But
Hmm.
I'm not sure what happened to the days where we valued a veteran presence, and usually you put them like if I'm playing pickup and one of the guys is an older guy, I'm putting him at the back because
Hmm.
he's doing less running, right? And he can see the whole pitch. He's not getting caught by surprise by anything, right? So if we're gonna have a veteran presence, I wouldn't mind it being at the back. I wouldn't mind it being a ball playing left-footed center back. Um, does he start next year in the World Cup? Probably not, but I still bring him. I still bring him. Um, yeah, I do. I still bring him. I don't. I might not start him, but I still bring him. But like I said, it's about the selection and bringing in, deciding to start someone like Tyler, who inexplicably has been on the bench a lot
Hmm.
thus far this tournament. Um, Tyler to me and it's so strange because for me, he's one of the first three names you write down when you're naming your roster
Hmm.
presently out of this pool. That he's one of the first three names you write down. He's in 10 for me. Um, Most of the other spots are up for grabs, but that's the guy that absolutely starting him tonight was the right decision. He brings a lot of calm. He directs the traffic correctly. He knows how to direct the ball. Um, Tolkien, he offers a lot of dynamic positioning. Like he's got the legs and the stamina to track back and help on defense, and he's very efficient at that too. But he's also really good at getting forward and doing exactly what he did tonight on the Adjumang assist,
Hmm.
and just trying it. Now, it, is that pass always going to come off? No, right?
No,
But
but it did here when it
the
needed to.
audacity to see the moment and try it. That's what I'm speaking to. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Another guy like Aronson. Aronson is a guy who, for me, is, I wouldn't say he's in pen, but he's not a guy who has to make a case. Sure, absolutely not. He's a kid who has had an average, all right go in Europe in the last 3 to 4 years. Well, no, 3 years, I think. Uh, in the last couple of years, and it's not been all great, but what he brings you is intensity.
Hmm.
That same professionalism that I spoke about with Maddie, and he brings you this type of confidence that also seems to be missing from uh, a lot of the players on the squad. Um, you know, Tillman could potentially start next summer. Tillman could
Yeah,
get a
three
look.
three goals. So,
Tillman can get a look, man. Tillman can
and
get a look.
by the
He's
way, can we even point out that header? That was
Yeah,
another fantastic setup. The
yeah,
cross across the header was just gorgeous.
yeah. Absolutely. He for me is a he's a right-footed uh playmaker cam, right? But because he's not really the most willing quarterback,
Yeah.
he's more of a scoring midfielder, if that makes sense. For me, you put him on that right side and you say, "Hey, just exploit those backside spaces when the ball is
Mhm.
being progressed from the left side of the pitch, from our left wing. Exploit those backside spaces on the right, just like he did tonight on that header. Or it could be like a little slip through on the ground, something like that. Those little, you know what I'm saying, like a little backdoor pass.
Sure.
And then when the ball is on his side, he's a midfielder, so I'm sure he can cross the ball into the box. Um, and he's got good legs. Maddie got a 5.7.
It's that gaff. I saw NBC, and this is Sports Illustrated. Now maybe this is a little bit of a hate because Sports Illustrated also has the naming rights to their Derby rival. But
Nah.
I don't know. In reality, I don't think it is. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, listen, that was a big mistake that could have been extremely costly. I don't hate
Yeah.
the 5-7 based on that. I think if he doesn't make that mistake and the team wins 2-1 or 2-0, or even even 1-0, I think that number's got to be a 7, 7.5 easy.
Right. John Tolkien with the 7-6, man. Deserved.
Yeah. And
Well
Malik Tillman with
deserved.
an 8-6. So
Oh, wow.
that
Wow,
does
wow,
not
wow.
surprise me one
Hey,
iota right there.
hey, highlight Brendan Aronson there
Yep. Aronson,
with
I give
that
him
7-6.
a lot of solid 7s in here.
Yeah, a lot of
No
solid
love for
7s.
Diego Luna or Jack McGlynn, though.
Yeah. But Jack McGlynn, funny enough, Jack McGlynn has impressed me this tournament so far, like big
Yeah.
time. He's actually someone who I would start against Costa Rica.
Mhm.
I would go Jack McGlynn on the right, Tillman on the left, Brendan in the middle, obviously Ajimang up top. In the pivot, I would have Tyler and maybe are there what are the other options? Because I don't know how I feel about Luca.
Yeah.
Luca seemed to struggle to find the game a little bit today. 5.7.
Hmm.
Freeman was good. Richards is good. If it wasn't for
Yeah.
the rest,
There
Ream was
was a
good
goal
and Tolkien
that
was
was
good.
called back on that handball too, but
I mean, if there must be some sort of change on the back line, I would swap out Chris Richards for like maybe Miles Robinson.
mhm.
Um, and the only other change I would make is Luca De La Torre for Luca and Quinn for
Mhm.
another center mid and Jack McGlynn.
Yeah. By the way, Costa Rica and Mexico get underway at 10 o'clock tonight, so we'll
Okay.
see how
Yeah,
that
let's have
plays
a
out.
look. Let's have a look. Surely we'll have a look.
Of course we will, and don't call me true. So yeah, we have the lineup for right now. Martinez is starting on the left wing.
Okay.
They're running with
Which
a
is
5-3. Costa Rica's running with a 5-3-2 setup.
Oh, they have him. Okay, so they're using him. He's not even like a left winger. He's a wide midfielder.
Yeah,
So they're using him how he was profiled when he got to
that's
City.
basically a second striker.
Say again?
Basically
But
a
you said
second striker.
a 5-3, a 5-3-2.
Oh yeah, you know what? Let me pull that up on screen.
So he's up top in a 5-3. Oh, okay. There he. Oh no, that's okay. No. Yeah, then he's just like he's a striker pairing. My bad.
Yeah, yeah,
There we go. No, he's a straight up striker. Yeah. Ugalde is the guy who takes the
mhm.
penalties.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he is. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that's probably the right call anyway. If Martinez is struggling on home turf, you know, and it's funny because Alonso Martinez, when he came up, and he obviously had the lightning season that he had last year, he became an absolute darling of Costa Rica. And
Yeah.
it's funny because anytime I posted anything about this kid, the content numbers on the channel would explode for all Alonso Martinez content.
I
And
think the Costa Rican contingent really they respect any Costa Rican doing well in the
sure,
MLS.
home turf
You know?
guy.
Yeah.
And in this case here, with him being able to play, he had commented about it once, and he talked about the fact that he'd love the opportunity for it because he was not really aware of how popular he was down there. And
Right.
I don't get, someone else had asked about it in this case, but yeah, he didn't know that. I mean, all these things were going on, and that basically people were really rooting for him as much as they were. And he said this was the goal, this was the dream, and here it is. So, now
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw Ted Lasso season 3, where you had shit. All right, you know what? Forget it. I'm not even going to go down that road.
Say again?
I was going to say I had an anecdote about this from Ted Lasso season 3, but I forgot the character name, so I'm not even going to go with it.
But yeah, I'm definitely gonna see if I can watch that Mexico game.
Sure.
But it was a really nice performance from the guys tonight, and
Yeah.
I'm really particularly for those three guys I called out,
Mm-hmm.
Tolkien, Aronson, and Adams. Those three are guys I feel are in like overall in the pool, not just in this Gold Cup. Just I'm talking about presently in the pool. They deserve real flowers and like a good look in their roles. I mean, obviously Adams, not Adams is a out and out starter, but I'm talking about Aronson and Tolkien.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys deserve real looks. Is there anything else, sir?
Not too much.
Okay.
No, it was not. It was not Jamie Tart. It was Cristo Fernandez. That was the actor.
Mm.
Shit, Mike. It's funny. I watch the clips all the time, but I can't remember the character names. Anyway, but yeah, it's funny because in this case, let me ask you this. Knowing that the U.S. men's team is going to be playing the loser of this, which team do you want?
That's a good question. The U.S. men's team is going to be playing the loser of this?
Yes. They played the runner-up. And yes, Danny Rojas. That was the name. Thank you. I feel like an idiot for forgetting that.
I want Costa Rica.
I think so. I can think so, yeah.
Give me Costa Rica. Not because I don't think we will do well against Mexico, but because that's a ticket. That's a ticket I want to punch later on in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I want to save them for a better round, a more important round. Whereas with Costa Rica, let's get it done and dusted right now.
This, by the way, thank you. This is what I just took it out of my system. This was the clip that I was thinking about. If it ends up being Alonso Martinez and Matt Freese facing off, when basically it's sitting there talking to Jarreau, it's like, I am not your friend. Soon you would be my bitch. That was the scene I was thinking of. So.
Man, I would relish that, dude. Like
Dude,
playing against my
Alonso
teammate.
Martinez and Matt Freese facing off like that, man.
Yeah, dude. And frankly, I mean, let's just be straight up honest about it. There are two best players right now.
Yeah.
The two best. Like without them, a lot doesn't happen on this team.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense of like Alonso, even with his struggles and underperforming his XG and all that stuff, he's still getting goals enough to kind of drag us forward. You know what I mean? And Maddie's just stopping as many goals as possible. And he's just, I don't know. These two they're talismanic for the club, and I just can't wait to. I mean, I hope that's what we get to see. I hope that that's something that we get to feast our eyes on.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because I think when this is all over and it's back to normal, we're gonna have to ask Matt. We're gonna have to ask Matt Freese about this because if he faces off against Alonso Martinez, it's like you're enemies on this one, but next week you're back to being allies again. And Alonso. Here's the thing: Alonso, he'll answer it, but he won't be as, I think, clear and concise as Matt Freese is going to be about something like this. And
Maddie is also very professional, though.
Yeah, he will. But you know me. I always like these kind of questions and always these kind of insights on certain things to get mindset with players a lot.
Man, that would be interesting. But yeah, that sums up the game tonight. I feel like also a larger conversation that needs to start happening is, there are a lot of people off of two friendlies calling for Pochettino's head.
Yep.
And thus far, they've been performing exceptionally well in games that matter. And there were even comparisons to Berhalter saying, "Oh, things were better under Greg," and all this, and it just, I don't know, it just blows my mind that people don't have more excitement for the fact that we have a guy who coached some of the best players to ever play the game, right? We have him coaching the national team. That's a big deal.
Yeah,
that's a big deal. Seeing how he dealt with Christian Pulisic's comments, and kind of really reminding him that, hey, I'm the coach here. You don't get to pick and choose what games you want to play or don't want to play or whatever. I would like to see some sort of fallout. Honestly, I would love to see ramifications for this whole fiasco, really, because he has more leverage now. They're winning. They're doing well. So I would love to see a little bit of, Christian, you're coming off the bench a little bit. Like, honestly, I know he's our best player, I would love to see a little bit of penalty for that because you know, you show up. If you're Clint Dempsey, if you're Landon Donovan, if you're Josie Altidore, if you're you name it, anyone who went, if you're Tim Howard, you're tired, you still show up.
Well, what's funny? This is becoming an increasing issue, I think, in sports in general. The sense of entitlement. And you look at from a baseball perspective, what happened with Rafael Devers with Boston. He has a $300 million deal. The team asks him to stop playing DH and start playing third base because of injury, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to do it." So they trade his ass out and send him out to San Francisco. This is, like I said, it's one of those things where the players have a different mindset right now because the world is given
They
to them
do.
a little easier than it used to be. And
100%.
now, like you said, after two friendlies, I mean, like I said, there's no patience in sports anymore.
None.
I mean, you look at what happened with the head coach of the Knicks recently. I mean, as far as he got to, the Eastern Conference Final, and then he
Yeah,
gets
with the
dumped
team that he had.
with the team that he had, and he gets dumped because there's no patience anymore. So the
Yeah.
fan base itself, this is what blows my mind about Pascal Janssen. The fact that the team is actually giving him a break here,
Yeah.
because this is the kind of break that, frankly, they never gave Nick Cushing.
But
So,
but you know what, I think Pascal is in a uniquely good position, and the reason why he's getting the benefit of the doubt is the same reason why Barack Obama got the benefit of the doubt. Things were so bad, it was just like, okay, how much worse could he do, right?
and the
So,
swap factor because they're cooler.
and they're both cool. They
Dude,
both make you
yeah,
feel
you got to play
comfortable.
the cool factor. You know,
They both make you feel comfortable. They make you feel like
I
they
mean,
know what they're talking about, and they do.
all right, let me do this. Look at you and me side by side. Which one of us looks like the cooler guy? Let's call it what it is here, man.
But but I think Pascal gets the benefit of the doubt because things were just so shocking. The season previous, Bryce Young, yeah, there you
Yeah,
go. Yeah, the American sporting, viewing public, sports viewing public, they're very spoiled, very entitled a little bit. But I think for as many spoiled and entitled people is an equal amount of guys like us who understand nuance and are a bit more patient with our perspectives and our takes, I think.
yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I have some hot takes. I have some hot takes, but those hot takes are only hot because they've been cooking for a long time. You know?
And yeah, well, here's the other side of it too. You look at these, what's happening right now. I think a lot of people are turning to sports and things like this to offset the stresses that they have in life. It's a statistical fact. People are more stressed out than ever. So I think they put more emotional weight into other things like sports to be that
Right.
salvation. So there's less
Right.
patience to grow because you want to feel better about life. So you expect your team to be
Hmm.
better, and there's no patience there as a result. And with the two friendlies, and obviously that was pretty bad. 2-1 loss on a 4-0 loss.
Hmm.
Friendlies don't mean something, but they do mean something.
They
And I
kind of do.
then I think that 5-0 win over Trinidad Tobago, that sent a statement. It's like, okay, that wasn't
It's
bad.
yeah.
And then Edmund's goal against Saudi Arabia, and suddenly the team is 2-0. Then you
Hmm.
got the goal with Tillman 10 minutes in. It's like, okay, this is where the team starts to get interesting. And
Yeah.
who knows? They might flame out royally and lose 4-1 this weekend. Who knows? But
Sure. Um, sure. But I think, and I hope that the same hunger that a lot of media is saying is present in a lot of people are talking about how well Brazilian teams are doing against European teams in the
mhm.
Club World Cup, and it's because it's passion playing money, right?
Ooh,
I
yeah.
think I think the guys that are in the U.S. national team squad right now, these guys are passion guys.
Hmm.
These aren't big bag guys. None of them have big bags. They're professionals, but they're not
Hmm.
big bag guys. So they have something to prove. And when you have something to prove and you have a little bit of chip, you play with a little bit more passion, a little bit more bite, a little bit more audacity. You try stuff, right? And I hope that first off, I hope that they go all the way, obviously.
Hmm.
Um, Not because I just want the team to win, but love what message that sends to any player who has lost sight of why you play for the national team,
Hmm.
right? This team won it without you. I want that so badly because I think there needs to be a serious psychological reset on this squad before next year.
There was a
A
great.
serious one.
I don't know if you remember the 2005 movie Miracle with Kurt Russell
Hmm.
about the 1980 Olympic hockey team, and the
Hmm.
saying was the name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the name on the back.
Yeah.
And that's where you have the opportunity to play for a team like this, and the stressors are so much higher. God knows I would never be strong enough to handle something like that.
Right.
But the honor and the privilege for a lot of these
Yeah.
guys to play for their country.
Yeah. So I hope how they're doing lights a fire under some guys who need to wake up. Like I could name 5 right now who made comments, who are considered the big names on the squad, um, who need to wake up,
Hmm.
who 100% need to wake up. I hope this sheds a little bit of light on some guys who have been given a lot of grace and a lot of chances to come in and prove themselves, and they just kind of struggled. I'm not going to name any names, but he has red curly hair and freckles. And he hasn't scored for the team since 20 and he hasn't scored for the team since 2019,
Hmm.
right? That's not normal. That's not normal.
Hmm.
So I hope this shakes things up in a really, really, really good way. I hope this shakeup helps dislodge some talent that's been obscured, and it helps it rise to the surface. And we see guys like Freeman, who's playing exceptionally well. We see guys like obviously Brendan Aronson, who has always been decent, but like I said, he's been obscured by the larger figures and personalities on the team in his position. So yeah, man, I really I want success for the team for those reasons. Because it's absolutely needed. It's absolutely needed going into next year. 100%.
Now, we do have a curious quirk here, and we don't have the schedule yet. But ironically enough, I'm looking at it right now.
Hmm.
And let me pull this up over here. So there's our schedule for the next round. If depending, and the U.S. team plays that first match on that Saturday, Saturday at 7:15, that would literally overlap with NYCFC. Because they're playing in Montreal at 7:30.
Wow.
Yeah. We would have a
Yeah.
decision we'd have to make on this one.
I mean, I'd be watching both.
Yeah,
I'd
I
be
know.
watching both. Yeah.
I mean, they have the Saturday night game would be 10:15, so that would be done in time. But it is possible, depending that if they play the first game, yeah, we'll end up having NYCFC and the U.S. men's national team at the literal same time.
Damn.
And I'm hoping if that don't happen, so.
Actually, I'd be watching the national team.
Hmm.
And I just pay attention to the updates from the New York City game.
I have to think about
Mostly
this.
mostly because I'm rooting for Maddie. I'm rooting for Maddie.
Sure.
I want to see the kid do well. The guy do well. I mean, I say kid because I'm like 15 years his senior. But
They're all kids at that age.
yeah, right.
Hmm.
But yeah, I feel like his cousin. Like we've talked about our sneaker collections and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So just to see him, just to go from that and to see him performing on this at this level is, yeah, it's mind-boggling. But yeah.
I'm actually kind of annoyed at myself.
Why?
Yeah. Fight Mob says the U.S. game is at 7:15. Is that so? That definitely is. Can you confirm that is going to be the U.S. game then at the 7:15 start? Because maybe what I have isn't updated yet. But I'm pissed off because had I put in for it, I probably could have gotten like press conference access for this. And I dropped
To
the
what?
ball to USMNT.
Really?
Okay. So here's something I was going to announce at some point anyway. I'm going to probably go to Twitter with this as well. And and my team knows this for the most part. But Stream Punk Entertainment has been cleared for press access for all of Asia and also Australia and New Zealand at this point.
Wow.
So we are covering, we have the capability to cover any of those teams that are over there. Had I not dropped the ball on this one and I put in the request that yes, I probably could have gotten Zoom press conference access to this, and I fucked it up and I dropped it. Mistakes were made. I'm not going to make those mistakes again.
No big deal.
Yeah, listen, for me, it annoys me, but
at the end of the day, we're still fans, aren't we?
But yeah, But the reality is, from a company corporate perspective, but I will be open. I plan to open that up for Twitter. So if anybody wants an assist with certain things, if they're willing to work under my umbrella, yes, I can get them access to China, Japan, Australia. If they want to watch, if they want to start covering games in in Kazakhstan, sure, why not? We'll make it happen. But yeah, no, I got what they call AFC clearance this week.
Nice.
So, but as far as this goes, yeah, I probably could have gotten it. I'm like, shit. I realized that while I'm sitting here, like, should have had the opportunity. So, okay, so US is definitely playing that Saturday. All right, so we'll have to figure out how we're going to make that happen. I wouldn't be necessarily against a live stream react too, either possibility. I'll think about this. But I might go that route. What's that?
I'm down. Just let me know.
Yeah, sure. So we might do that instead and then do live updates for NYCFC as it happens. All right, let me think about this, but I think maybe that we'll do something in that area, especially if Costa Rica's the team they're playing. So,
yeah.
But
all right, how do you feel about wrapping it up?
Yeah, I'm closing out the banner right now. So, all right, sir. I'm going to change the background for next time too. But yeah. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate it. I saw the numbers on that. I'm grateful to the numbers on that. I'm Scott. That's Mr. Haylon Haru from Five Borough Footy. Check him out, all his writings, all his interviews, and all his awesome content. Until next time, take care. Stay awesome.